Good morning, Christ Church. Unfortunately, I'm coming to you by a recording simply because the COVID-19 numbers are telling me to stay home. But I want to tell you a story. The story is about Mary Carson and Amy Anderson, two young women that got married not long ago. And obviously, a honeymoon wasn't really a good idea because of the virus restrictions on travel. So both women decided that they would just go back to work on Monday, Monday following the wedding. So they were excited about the wedding, had wedding pictures with them, sat down at in their desks at their offices, and put their wedding pictures on their desk. And sure enough, what happened one afternoon? They got fired. And you say, wait, how did that happen? Well, because they weren't protected. They didn't have any protections that said a same-sex marriage is not a protected item in that particular location. Not in Mannheim, not in Leola, and certainly not in Elizabethtown. Now, 59 other communities have passed an ordinance that says that those protections exist, and those exist, for example, in York, Lancaster, and Harrisburg, and 56 other counties, or 56 other communities. But it doesn't exist Commonwealth-wide. In fact, Pennsylvania is the only state in the Northeast that does not have these protections. You say, wait, excuse me, but as far as same-sex marriage is concerned, the Supreme Court said several years ago that same-sex marriages are constitutional. That's true. But you still have to have the individual protections in place in the individual states and commonwealths in order to make sure that people are protected. Now, we've tried for the last 15 or 16 years to get this done. It requires an amendment to the Human Rights Act of 1955 that would, in addition to color, nationality, religion, disability, and all the other categories that are protected, it would be adding sexual orientation, sexual preference, gender identity, and gender expression. Now, let me submit to you that we passed a covenant not long ago that said that no matter who you are or where you are in life's journey, you're welcome at Christ Church. And it included all those classes. It included people of color. It included disability. It included economic status, divorce, separation, single, no matter what you are. And we also added in sexual orientation and preference and gender identity and expression. But we said no matter who you are or where you are in life's journey, you're welcome at Christ Church. But that doesn't exist outside the front door of our church. Now, do we have a responsibility beyond the doors of our church? I say we do. How can we possibly take the stance that people are welcome inside of our building, but yet they're not welcome inside the boundary limits of Elizabethtown? So coming up this January, the legislation will be reintroduced to make the amendment to the Human Rights Act of 1955, which will give those protections on a Commonwealth-wide basis. And I would suggest to you that you should join me when that legislation is introduced by sending letters to the legislators that represent you to say, hey, this is something we need to do. This is something that needs to take place. So join me as we take this a further step beyond our doors and say, okay, all people are welcome, not just at Christ Church, but they're welcome in Elizabethtown. Thank you.